Chris, you let out some sort of a moan in the middle of that countdown. I just heard you go.
Oh, I'm eating a cookie.
What kind?
It's a iced oatmeal.
Buddy.
Quite good. Very good.
Are we talking like gas station sort of iced oatmeal?
Oh yeah. Gas station. $1 for a 6-pack of them.
Nice.
No one talks about how fucking good gas station treats are.
No,
Zebra cakes,
I'm not into
frosted
that kind of stuff. I'm
donut.
not into like Hostess or like Little Debbie's
Oh
cakes.
man, Swiss cake rolls, ring
Garbage.
dings,
No, trash.
ho-hos.
I used to live right across the street from a gas station in Inwood in northern Manhattan, like that neighborhood that's like the very tip, basically right at the northern edge. And I live like a block and a half away from a gas station that was open 24/7. And so like my late night treat was like beef jerky, whatever the cheapest one they had.
Oh yeah,
1 or 2 tall boy lime-maritas, the Bud Light lime-maritas.
good God.
And then like as many scratch offs as I could buy.
Nice.
I remember I
nice-
met this guy at my job who was like telling me, because he like played the scratch offs too. He was like, if you save them, because like if you actually do end up winning, a substantial sum on one of them, you have to pay taxes. And so he told me, and I never even like looked to see if this is true. It might be, I don't know. But he told me if you save the losing tickets that you have, you can deduct that from the taxes that they take out of it. And so based on that logic, like hearsay I got from this other gambling addict that I worked with, in my like writing desk, I had like 200 losing scratch off tickets with like a rubber band around them.
Eventually you just throw them away.
Oh, eventually when I like moved after 2 or 3 times, I just had to toss them. But
is that why people keep them?
I did the exact same thing. I don't know if it's true or not, but someone told me the exact same thing, that he like save up all your fucking losers, you can write them off or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like had a fucking drawer full of, actually I don't think it was a drawer, I think it was my glove compartment in my car, and like the fucking like the pocket behind the passenger seat was just like, full of them, which eventually I was just like, this is stupid.
yeah, no. One day you end up looking at it and you're like, "What? This is all this is evidence of like a pipe dream."
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. Like explaining that to anyone who doesn't gamble or play the scratch offs, it just makes you feel so low. And now I've told all of you about it.
If I could save up all of the receipts from my shortcomings and kind of deduct them from one of the real big screw-ups, that'd be really nice.
It's a nice way to quantify your failure. Like that's what it is. It's like a reminder of how much you haven't won. Because also, like, I mean, I'll always enjoy playing scratch offs. It's something my family did a lot as a kid. And again, I'm just like,
By the way, to the Patreon subscribers, thank you for your thank you for your $5 a month.
Yeah. But like, I mean, it is a poor man's desperation. It's a very weird vice. I don't know if you guys ever had this. So like I was saying, my family would always give each other scratch offs on like holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
So and from like an early age, from the age of like 5 or 6, I would get them, in like a Christmas stocking or whatever. And what you would do, like, before you did the scratch offs, everybody would be sitting around the table, and like everybody would have to go around and like talk about what they would do with the money if they won.
Jesus.
And it was all of this like really weird performative bullshit where like you like
it's the beginning of a novel,
because you had to say if I won $1 million, I would give X amount to you. I would give X amount to you. Like you had to first clear out half to 2/3 of your winnings to everybody else at the table and all the other extended family members who weren't there in order to like prove how righteous or noble you were. And of course, when I first started doing that, I'm like 6. I was like, I'm gonna buy like a rocket ship, and people that would get yelled at and be like, don't you care about your uncles and aunts? And I'd be like, no, I don't. I'm 6. Like,
God damn
and
it,
also,
Shane.
none of this is happening. Like we're obviously losers. We're not gonna
What's
win.
the most you've what's the most you've ever won on a scratch ticket?
I think I won like $100 once. That was the top for me. I knew another coworker who won $3,000 off a scratch off ticket, and buddy,
I won $1,000 once.
Nice.
Really?
I won 500 actually twice on 2 separate occasions.
Nice, dude.
I've won like 100 a couple times. I haven't really. I used to play them a lot, like 8-10 years ago, but I very rarely ever buy them at all. There's a guy I knew from Virginia who won $1 million on a $10 scratch ticket.
Mamma mia.
Wait, Chris, which tickets did you win on? Like which games? Just DM me later privately, so I know.
Why are you keeping it for me, man? I want in too.
I won the $1,000 on a $10, just one of the regular, just $10 scratch tickets. Nothing special.
Okay.
The ones I really like playing nowadays, whenever I get them, I like the crossword ones, or like the ones that have some sort of little game that takes a minute to scratch it all. I like those. Those are fun. When I lived in California, I got in the habit, and I still, quite frankly, sometimes do this, of like when I see one on the ground, I'll pick it up and I'll check it. And surprisingly, sometimes you find winners. Like I used to, when I lived in Santa Rosa, I checked every single one I saw on the ground. So like, throughout the day, I would check many of them. And I'd find a winner usually once a week or so.
Nice.
One time I found, like within an hour of each other, on a walk, like, probably a mile between the 2 tickets, I found 2 of the exact same kind of ticket. One was a $15 winner and the other was a $50 winner.
Nice.
This is insane to me. From the sample size, if you take the population of people that are doing scratch-off tickets and then throw them away just on the ground, okay, there might be a good proportion of people that do that. But those that are habitual enough to get a scratch ticket and throw it away, you would think would be the kind of person that would pay attention to whether or not they actually earned something or won something from that scratch ticket.
I found one time, like on the ground right outside the door to the gas station, like very clearly, it was unscratched. Like very clearly the person had bought it and just dropped it on the way out the door. I picked that one up. That one was a $20 winner.
Got it.
Nice.
Oh, you're saying that they were unscratched.
This one was unscratched. No, many of the other ones, most of the other ones I'm talking about were scratched.
Blowing my mind.
This particular one was, it was clear that what had happened was the guy had bought it, walked out the door, and dropped it immediately on his way out.
I mean, there have definitely been times with me, but if I'm gonna buy scratch-off tickets, you buy multiple at a time, and so when you're doing them multiple at a time, you can sometimes get in these fits of frustration, and that's also a secondary reason why I ended up keeping them, because occasionally I would go back through and be like, oh, I actually hit on this one, usually a small amount, but I'd be like, oh, I discarded this, I misread, I didn't pay attention to the rules, I actually won a whole $1 on this one, baby. Ooh, I gotta bring this back.
Yeah, I would usually scan them just to double check, especially the ones like the crossword type stuff I was talking about, where like it's
like in the vending machine, you mean? Like
well, no, I mean
at the counter or whatever.
The vending machines have them, and sometimes the counter. Yeah, but most gas stations have a little scanner where you can check to see if you've won or not. I mean, I've seen some people they don't even fucking scratch the thing; they just scan it and see if they won or not. But I usually double check with that.
Oh, so you don't even have to do the fun part.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm sorry if you like me eating on mic, sure sound off in Dwight's DMs. Let him know.
Keep going. How many more of those do you got to get through?
I'm gonna stop right now.
I'm not judging.
Dude, kill the sleep.
I finished the iced oatmeal and I broke into. I also bought a pack of oatmeal raisin as well, so I'm on those now.
It's a lot of oatmeal. Good for you. It's good to get some fiber in your diet.
It's healthy. Yeah.
That's right.
It's good for oatmeal's good for you.
Oh, Jesus. It's getting a little hot in here. Things are fraying at the edges.
Fuck, I want to smoke now.
Oh, now I really want to play fucking scratch-off tickets.
Are we just fiending for our individual vices? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. It's, the thing that really pisses me off with the lottery, like, besides the entire institution of it, whatever, blah, blah, it sucks, but it's fun.
Well-trodden territory.
Yeah, what really always pissed me off is every time you find out when somebody wins, like, when not just the scratch-off ones, but those big, like, like the big Powerball lotteries that can go up to, like, $1 billion or whatever. The people who win those giant pots are always already rich, and that pisses me off. It's always some, like, petty multi-millionaire. He already has like a small business and some other thing, and then suddenly he gets, he basically just doubles his fortune by winning like a $50 million lottery or something. And when I see that, oh man, it's so petty. And like, this is not like a structural critique. This has nothing to do with like any kind of real political thing. It's just pure fucking anger.
I just can't imagine ever wanting to win one. I mean, I can imagine wanting the money, but like, you could never have a normal relationship with your family or friends ever again.
I'm totally fine with that.
I don't. Yeah.
I already don't have that.
Look at Dwight with his healthy, normal relationship with people. La-di-da.
I suppose you're right, man. Oh man, yeah, I guess I'm so like irresponsible with money. I don't know. I would just fuck it up. I would probably just end up dead somewhere, or just like do the right thing, which is like going backwards in a Ferrari at with a bag of unmarked bills and being chased by like 24 police cars off a cliff. That's probably the better way to do it. I mean, honestly, you didn't know you were gonna get this anyway. No, actually, I was doing after we talked on the last Patreon episode about like vast expanse. We're talking about the island of St. Helena. We were talking about the West and like these.
Was the goddamn turtle on that island? Did anybody look that up?
I didn't see.
Is it the island with the
tortoise?
Tortoise.
I don't
Jonathan.
know. Somebody mentioned it in the like tagged us in it or something, but I don't think it was. If it was, I don't remember what it was. But I was thinking about like this kind of like call of the vast expanse or whatever, and I started like sincerely researching what it would take to get a sailboat. Like sincerely researching what it would take to get a sailboat, and like
Sausalito, man. There's I guarantee you, there's no cheaper place in the country to get a sailboat than Sausalito.
But I as I tend to do when I like start to research something, I like really get into the nitty gritty, and I'm like learning about yearly maintenance costs, how often you have to paint the hull, like the single-handed versus double-handed sailing, which is like one thing, it's something you can do on your own, or if you need more people to be able to operate the sailboat. And then also, most importantly, I've been like watching and these YouTube videos and these things about people that sail around the world, circumnavigate the globe in a sailboat. That's the part to me that's the most fascinating, maybe because it seems the most scary, because like the idea of being in the middle of the Atlantic on your own wits and a storm blows through, or pirates come by when you're moored off an uninhabited coast or something like that, or whatever. But from what I can tell, my biggest regret was that I was not born wealthy, because it seems like these people spend tens of thousands of dollars per year to circumnavigate the globe and yet don't have an income of their own, unless their income is just like having a YouTube video with 500,000 subscribers, and that's how they kind of like monetize themselves or whatever, in which case what they're doing is the content and is the career. But it just seems like such a cool thing to do, and yet terrifying at the same time.
Would you like to hear about Jonathan?
The fucking tortoise?
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Jonathan Sparrowcakes, tell us his story.
I think our listeners might be interested in hearing. Okay, Jonathan is a Seychelles giant tortoise, a subspecies of the Aldabra giant tortoise, and the oldest known living terrestrial animal in the world. Jonathan resides on the island of St. Helena, a British overseas territory in the South Atlantic Ocean. And just a little bit of biographical information here. Jonathan was brought to St. Helena from the Seychelles in 1882, along with 3 other tortoises at about 50 years of age. He was named in the 1930s by Governor of St. Helena, Sir Spencer Davis.
Wow.
He continues to live on the grounds of the plantation house, the official residence of the governor, and belongs to the government. His age is estimated by the fact that he was fully mature when brought to St. Helena in 1882, meaning he was at least 50 years old at that time, but he could be older even, so he's at least, 188 years old.
Wow.
Pretty cool,
That
right?
is very cool.
That means he was on the island
when Napoleon
at the same time as Napoleon. And coincidentally, when Napoleon died, Jonathan was on the same island.
It was him.
You probably know him. Probably knew him. I mean, a bit problematic. I mean, he's, lived that long. He could have stopped Hitler. There's all sorts of, all sorts of things that he lived through and just sort of let happen. There's all sorts of things that he could have done. And
Jonathan canceled for being a slave owner.
Canceled, yeah.
Funnily enough, I was also seeing, speaking of invasive species, that the on Gough Island, which is a part of the archipelago of Tristan da Cunha, another one of the British overseas territories that is even more remote in the southern Atlantic, that was a breeding ground for albatross. And 200 years ago, one of the British naval ships that was visiting there brought house mice and carelessly introduced house mice into this microclimate.
Hell yes.
And
yes.
no, very
yes.
bad. And and they have just literally been eating albatross babies out from underneath, the albatross mothers that are nesting there. Mm-hmm. And they have these house mice have grown to huge sizes because they're feeding off. No, it's not good.
That's so awesome.
Metal as hell,
That's so fucking cool.
Feeding off of the endemic. No. It's not good.
I want to be their king.
There's penguins there. It's in a very important microclimate.
I hope they get the penguins next.
It was no.
Your time will come.
I think all that's there is a weather station, and which is very important for transoceanic Atlantic weather forecasting for trade routes. So there you have it. Which is weird because I'm not to get too far into this, but I will. Like the point, I'm like, what the fuck is the point of the crown of Britain, for lack of a better term, owning these overseas territories? Just this like the British Empire, like psychotic manifest destiny shit. It's very weird. It's like in the middle of nowhere. And one of the craziest ones that I was doing some research in, because clearly I was into this, was Pitcairn Island.
I've heard of that one. Which one's that?
In the South Pacific, if I'm not mistaken, these are the apparently 67 inhabitants of this extremely remote island are biracial descendants of Polynesians and crew members of the wreck of the HMS Bounty.
Yeah. No, I've heard of this, yeah.
And I was looking into this. There was a fucking horrible, disgusting episode on that island where many people were, I should say a few people on the island were busted for sexual assault, and including the mayor was found with child pornography on this island, and they had to like build a prison and if I'm not mistaken, simultaneously take away all the guns on the island because they were like, they're just gonna kill him. They're just gonna kill him. And it's just so fat. I just can't imagine like living there and being there and just seeing just a vast expanse of nothingness as that's what you've got. It's so fascinating to me.
You realize, because of everything you're saying, like your canonical, poetic, tragic ending now is that you're going to end up on one of these islands at the end of your life.
Oh, you think that this wasn't totally clear to me, that my end on Twitter would be me being exiled to St. Helena? I'm just trying to get to know my surroundings before I get there. It's so weird. Unfortunately, you can't get. That's what the reason I got into the sailboat thing was, because I was like, well, let me see how much it would cost to get there.
Have you ever heard of what's his name, Alexander Selkirk, the guy that they based the Daniel Defoe based Robinson Crusoe on, like the real life guy?
No.
That was he's like a real life guy that was marooned on an island or whatever for like 4 years or something, 5 years, something like that back in the 1600s.
No idea.
No.
Because he was like sailing, and I guess he had like an argument with the captain or something, because like he said this ship's not like seaworthy, you know what I'm saying, like we need to stop and like repair the ship. They were in like the middle of the ocean, and like he's like, this ship's not gonna fucking make it to where we gotta go, so we need to stop and we need to repair the ship, or otherwise you can let me off on this fucking uninhabited island right here. And then the captain was like, okay, fucking get off then, he's like, whoa, no, I'm not serious, like I'm just please don't let me off. But then the captain like made him get off. But then if I'm not mistaken, the ship then did go on to, I don't know if it sank or if it was like marooned itself on some other island, and then like the rest of the crew of that ship was like enslaved or something by some, I'm not even sure, I don't remember who, but like, so it turns out that he actually probably
he came out all right.
He came out probably better than the rest of them. At least he wasn't like tortured. But yeah, no, he was like, at the time time, he was like a major celebrity at the time. Like when they rescued him after 5 years or whatever, and he came back to Europe, and he did I guess he met all the kings and queens. Everybody wanted to talk to him, and
wow.
He was sort of a major celebrity at the time.
I guess the weird part about it is you think about being marooned on an island for years or something, and maybe it's happened in history as you just said. But I guess what's weird to contemplate is what kind of maintenance plan does your mind go into where you are just resigned to the fact that you're there for a completely unknown amount of time? Because you think 5 years, I could do that. Yeah, maybe I could make that stretch. If I knew I was going to be rescued in 5 years, I think I might be able to, there might be some tough points, but I think, that could do it. But you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know it's going to be 5 years. Right. 5 years, 10 years, or no years, and you just die there. And then you start to contemplate, is the life that I know of that I was hoping to come back to even there? And therefore, why is it worth it? Jesus Christ, this is way too heavy.
I guess it's really a rather poor comparison, but what I was just thinking about when you were describing that was my experience hitchhiking. So when you're sitting at a fucking highway exit, there's no guarantee you could be there for a really long time. And I've sat sometimes you get picked up in 20 minutes, sometimes you get picked up in an hour, but I've sat for 2 days back to back all day at the same highway exit, stranded, hoping to get picked up. And it's just sort of I remember having that same kind of feeling, man, fuck, how long am I gonna be? I might be here fucking forever. There's no guarantee I'm not going to be here for weeks.
But to that point, what was it like in that moment where you realized oh, here I go. Here it is. Here I'm now leaving. You can't anticipate that moment, right? It just happens.
No, the thrill of it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But here's I'll never forget this guy either. So this was in the middle of West Virginia. So not only was I there for 2 days or something, it was very rural, and it was just in the middle of nowhere. And then the guy that picked me up, he only drove me about a half hour, but he drove me at least to the next decent sized town. But I remember pretty basically the whole way there, he was on his cell phone having a conversation with somebody, and what he was talking about, going to the doctor and getting his balls examined.
Was there anybody on the other end of the phone, Chris?
I assume so, but no, it seemed to him
it's just how he gets his giggles.
He forgot there was someone right next to him as well. He's I went in there. They took a look at the lump on my left testicle, and then they looked at my right testicle, and he's going on and on. Yeah, I was man, I can't believe. Did you forget I'm here, buddy?
But I mean, what kind of person would end up being the kind of person that would pick you up anyway?
All kinds.
Really?
All kinds, yeah. Weirdos, normal people.
Wow. It's fascinating to me, Chris. I'm sorry, obviously, the one thing that I think is on my mind is just what did you have any scary incidences when you were out there?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That you had to be yo, dude, let me the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this dude attempted to kidnap me one time. I'm not.
Excuse me?
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't hang around to find out, but yeah.
What the fuck happened, man? What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. There's all sorts of people that want to try to take advantage of you.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a lot. It was a lot easier for me than I meet a lot of women that say they would love to try to do that, but they'd be terrified of doing it on their own. Hitchhike, that is.
Yeah.
But no, most of the hassle was cops. Cops were always across the country. Those were those were the biggest hassle, the biggest frustration. I can't tell you how many fucking conversations I had. It was just look, dude, do you want me to leave your town or not? You know what I'm saying? Where they're trying to give you a hard time about hitchhiking. It's you can't do that. It's okay, well, do you want me here, or do you want me to be someone else's problem? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what happened more often than not? Did they just fucking say let you go?
Sometimes I remember one time in particular, he was well, you can't. He's I was standing by the highway exit, and he's you're right next to the sign that says no pedestrians. And I was well, I'm on this side of the sign that says no pedestrians beyond this point, which is what it is. He's no, you can't be here. And I was so I said, look, do you want me in your town, or do you want me out of your town? And he's well, you can't. You can go over to that gas station there. and you can ask people for rides. It was just this weird, like, nitpicky sort of thing where you just wanted to exercise some sort of control.
Right.
Like, I can't do it here, but you can go 30 feet over there and you can, like, ask people directly for rides. Luckily, what was cool about that one is that there was a van full of juggalos that was leaving that gas station. Yeah. That saw the whole thing go down, and they picked me up immediately.
Really?
Yeah, this was outside of Grand Junction, Colorado.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
We love our juggalos, folks.
Yeah, another win for the juggalos, man. You know what I was just thinking about when we were talking about the, all the various different, like, incredibly small islands that are all, like, mostly in the possession of Britain or whatever their, colonial European master is or whatever. But, like, these are very, like, small islands in the middle of oceans and stuff. I was thinking about, like, number stations. You guys know, Chris, I would imagine you've encountered
dude.
number stations. Yeah.
UVB 76.
I'm not sure, no.
Oh, Chris, you're going to love this shit. So it's basically like during the Cold War, I think a few of them are still operating, but in a lot of places it was really just during the Cold War. People started noticing there are all these like weird fucking like radio broadcasts on these different frequencies, all in different languages, and they're all just like they're codes. They're just coded repeating numbers that would play usually with like a little chime beforehand or a bit of music depending on what the broadcast was, and then it would just be like a cryptic voice reading out like a sequence of like 30 numbers in a row. And nobody has ever admitted to it, but the going theory, one that seems most plausible to me, because there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about like what the fuck does this mean. It's been an object of a lot of conspiracy research and stuff, but the most reasonable one is it's like intelligence agencies broadcasting one-way messages to agents in the field who have some kind of code book, and they look up and they can transcribe it or whatever. But there's like a few recordings of them online. There's probably, now that I think about it, there's almost certainly like a website that tracks the ones that are still going that you can like fucking listen to.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of this. What are they called? Number stations?
Yeah, number stations. Yeah. So anyway, they were all over the place, but I know a few of them were like hidden away in these kind of undisclosed locations that were probably like these remote islands and stuff, so they could reach whatever area that they were trying to reach their agents in. But yeah, they're fun. That's a nice Friday night.
Fascinating. I still remember the thing with we could probably play it here, in fact, just in case people don't know how creepy cool they sound. The one that I was fascinated with, which is like in the fucking taiga of Russia or something like that, called UVB 76, aka the buzzer, and where it was just like, remember, I don't know if you've heard this, Shane, where it's like na'i mina, and it like went through. We can play it here if you'd like. It's fucking terrifying as hell. In fact, we'll play it here, but for you guys to hear this.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
This one's out of Russia?
Yeah. Hang on. Listen to this.
Yeah, I think I've heard of this one as well.
УЗБ 76, УЗБ 76, 93, 882, наимина 74, 14, 35, 74.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking metal as hell.
But a lot of them, too, if I'm not mistaken, could also have been used by, like, terror cells or drug cartels or something like that, because you can have information being sent out constantly. So, like, there's they're just constantly saying 1, 2, 1, 7, 1, 4, or whatever. And you may have the encryption key, but as another level of security would be that you would only know that, hey, between 1:07 in the afternoon and 1:09 in the afternoon is the only part that's going to be the real information.
Right.
And that the state level actor that might be trying to countervail you wouldn't know that that's the part that actually has the real information. So the rest of it is gibberish or something like that. No, it's super fascinating stuff. Actually, this is just all Dwight's hobbies that go nowhere. I was interested in getting my own CB radio, or get my ham radio operating license, and then I have to find out that, like, you got to run an antenna and shit. It's a whole thing. There's no end to a hobby.
You need a license to operate a radio?
You theoretically need a license to operate a radio. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pirate radio.
Goddamn government. I'm libertarian now.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I was on the highway a few weeks ago or something like that, and there was a guy who had a custom border license plate that said, like, talk to me, and it was on the top, it was his license number, so you could be like, breaker 19, I'm looking for Alpha Charlie Oscar 912 xylophone, whatever. It's not xylophone, it's X-ray. Real NATO alphabet hours.
So you're saying you could talk about like fluoride in the drinking water and chemtrails and stuff with a bunch of like
that's who you're talking to.
I imagine that's who.
Yeah.
That's who runs these types of things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Shane, are you frozen?
Shane, you look like you're doing the Numa dance right now.
Oh no! Come on. Come on. Oh God. I do look. Yeah.
Oh, I took one. Yeah, I'm sending it to the DM.
Yeah. This is the episode clip.
Can you guys hang on for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I don't know what this is. Hello?
It's Chinese?
The fucking number
Hell
station.
yeah, dude. I love getting Chinese voice messages.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I looked that up to see what it was about, and it's basically just like a phishing scam for anybody that happens to speak. Yeah, no, it's just like an old people scam or whatever, people that speak Mandarin.
I showed Shane. I started my I don't want to share this with too many people because I don't want to blow my cover, but I started a Groyper account because I want to try to infiltrate their community. I want to try to get into one of their DMs and spy on them or something. But I immediately, within a day of starting the account, I saw that I had a DM and I got really excited because I was thinking maybe one of them already DM'd me, but it was just a Bitcoin scammer. Oh, really? Like they're already the Bitcoin scammers are just already DMing my new account.
Did you get any Bitcoin?
Not yet. I told him I'm just here to be racist. I'm quite proud of the Groyper alt. I don't want to share it with anybody because I don't want to blow my cover.
No. We'll do the expose.
I'm quite proud of it. Yeah, no, it's gonna be This hopefully one day I'll be able to share the fruits of my labor with everybody because I'm quite proud of it.
Guys, I'd love to talk about this the ICE thing that came out today.
I didn't see it.
Shane, you okay with talking about that? This ICE thing?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do it.
So this came out in Newsweek. We shared it into the DM. This came out today, like literally a few hours ago. This is Friday, and the title of it is ICE offering Citizens Academy course with training on arresting immigrants. Mm-hmm. So let's just take a read into this here. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency is set to launch a 6-week Citizens Academy course on immigration enforcement. Will include training for citizens on how to arrest undocumented immigrants. A letter published online by the St. Louis Interfaith Committee on Latin America appears to show ICE Chicago Field Office Director Robert Guadian inviting shareholders, what does fucking shareholders means, but okay, inviting shareholders to participate in the course, which includes 6 days of training over a 6-week period starting in September. You have been identified as a valued member of the community who may have interest in participating in the inaugural class of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Removal Operations Chicago Citizens Academy, the letter states. What the fuck is all that? Noting that the program will be, quote, first of its kind, Guadian states in the program will serve as a pilot for nationwide implementation. During the training, stakeholders, that's what they meant in the first paragraph, stakeholders. During the training, which just means like psycho, independently wealthy white people in the Chicago suburbs that live in the area. That's what they're defining as stakeholders. During the training, stakeholders would receive training on a number of facets and responsibilities of the ICE and ERO operations, he says. Included in the course will be training in defensive tactics, firearms familiarization, and targeted arrests. The training would be scenario-based, he states, adding that exercises would be conducted in a safe and positive environment. In a statement sent to Newsweek, ICE spokesman Nicola Alberico said the academy was an extension of the community relations work ICE is already doing in the community. The goal is to build bridges with the community by offering a day-in-the-life perspective of a federal law enforcement agency, which I would imagine, and I hope this is no knock to you, Chris, a lot of gas station treats. Alberico said that the programming was modeled after other academies, including those run by Homeland Security Investigation Unit, as well as by the the FBI and local police departments, all with the goal of directly engaging and educating the public. No, you're training them to use their own firearms to be some fucking psycho vigilante shit. Wow. ICE is inviting interested participants from a variety of stakeholder backgrounds, including community groups, state, local elected leaders, congressional staff, consular officials, and business and religious leaders. Can you imagine, like, Jim Jordan's chief of staff like going to this and getting trained on how to like familiarize himself with a firearm to like take down a father that's coming back from work? Anyway, this goes on, but it's fucking insane. I don't understand how this is just a fascistic extension of what is a fascistic agency. Am I missing something here?
No, I mean, it's like, this is very much in line with that kind of ultimate, thrust of, sort of right-wing fascist political program is the construction of, like, paramilitaries, which you could already make the argument that, like, the police, to a large extent, and, an organization like ICE kind of fulfill that role because of the degree of, equipment and resources they have access to, as well as, like, what their jurisdiction is in terms of how, how they're able to enforce it. But, obviously just setting up, like, a fucking vigilante mob, or just, like, whatever, deputizing fucking other rich psychopaths who already have guns. I mean, like, if I was in a militia group or a white nationalist group or whatever, like, the second I heard about this, it would be like, oh, we gotta get in there.
Right.
Like, who else is that gonna appeal to? Like, like who would want to do that? Like, who would sign up to do that? Yeah, I mean, of course, it's kind of par for the course with everything that's been happening with this administration over the last few years, but I mean, it's still, incredibly sickening.
It's sickening. Again, the people that ICE are targeting, this is not, this is the right wing are trying to paint people who have come here, quote, illegally as criminals. That's the angle that, like, Trump took in his way back in 2015 and, when he was running. And that differentiated him from a lot of the other candidates. And these fucking psycho, feral, suburban psychopaths are just, like, hell-bent on bloodlet. Like, that's what this is satisfying. This isn't productive at all for anybody except for creating a fascist arm of the state in order to brutalize a community of what is, we know quantifiably, is a less violent group, or statistically much less, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like, liable to commit crimes or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to use the word proclivity, but I couldn't fucking conjugate it because I'm a dum-dum.
I mean, look, I think this is, I've been thinking about this a lot because I've started to see, like, Trump ads. I mean, I would get them every once in a while, but I've started to see more of them recently, like, in, like, online stuff like YouTube over and over, and I've seen a couple of different versions of it. And the ad is, like, in a 911 call center. Have you guys seen this one?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? The ad is, like, it's like in an empty 911 call center, like, all the lights are off, and a call comes in, right, and it goes to voicemail. And it's like, thank you for calling 911. Because Joe Biden and the Democrats have defunded the police, we're not able to take your call right now. Please press 1 if you're being murdered. Press 2 if you have house invasion. Press 3 if you're being raped. Estimated wait time is 5 days. And then, like, while that's happening, it's, like, intercut with, footage of people protesting in the, recent wave of police brutality protests and stuff. Anyway, and the point, obviously, like, and the reason why I'm bringing this up in terms of, like, an ad, I mean, obviously, it's, like, it's ridiculous to paint Biden as, like, Antifa or whatever. But, like...
left-winger Joe Biden.
Right, exactly. But outside of that, right, like, it shows that the strategy that obviously Trump is gonna go with is it's gonna be like the fire and brimstone law and order strategy, right? It's gonna be like I mean, it was always gonna have that, but considering that the COVID-19 epidemic is still going on and likely will still be going on through the election, and a lot of people are saying, like, oh, his polling numbers in general are down because of the obvious just like total fucking mishandling of this. So he's gonna double down on all the insane racist shit because because that's his base, and he needs to stir that up as much as possible. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is I think, you know, it's not like coincidental that it's like during this time that like a program like that is being introduced at ICE. You know what I mean? It's like this is like a calculated decision to stoke those fears and anxieties and to stoke racial tensions for the purposes, you know, obviously for the ultimate political goal of like, you know, fucking just like oppressing and hurting and killing fucking minorities, but also in a much more like cynical way. I think that is part of their team's like response, like what, because the idea too that he's not gonna like use the federal government to the best of his ability to just like rig things for him too is also ludicrous. Like these institutions are not gonna be like neutral going into this fucking election. He's gonna pull out every fucking thing. I mean, that's why the goddamn stimulus check had his name on it.
Yes.
Did you guys get the follow-up letter for that too?
No.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did get that. I was like, I got it. You know, I look at the letter and it's like from the Fed or something like that. I'm like, oh, I fucked up. But no,
right.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, the follow-up letter that's just like, we want to make sure you know, like, how much Trump cares about you to send you this money, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's all just, it's like, you know, it's a big political game in that sense. I mean, it doesn't make it any less real in terms of, you know, the violence that will happen as a consequence of these decisions. But I do think that at least part of it is this kind of cynical electioneering thing of like, you know, we need to shore up our base, and who are the people who are, you know, gonna be uncritically support me is you know, anyone that I can still get with the, you know, the just basically the racism angle.
Well, yeah, he hasn't performed for his base economically, clearly, because the unemployment rate is skyrocketing. You know, and the economy is in dog shit and everyone's in hell. He hasn't been, you know, he's taken a bunch of licks from the freaking Supreme Court with like his, you know, the weird conservative, kind of socially conservative things that the Republicans would expect to have as wins and changes. So he's just resorting to this culture war shit.
Right.
It's totally hollow. And like, I can't imagine it plays to everybody. Like, I can't imagine it creates a large enough coalition to be able to win the election. I don't know.
I mean, I think the other reason why you can look at it, whether or not it's you're considering it just a cynical election ploy or really part of a much more like concentrated effort towards like, you know, racism and genocide, or, you know, or any mixture of those two things. Like, I think, you know, the thing that at least points to it being not at all any kind of like measure of you know, actually trying to enforce what the fucking like de jure law is vis-a-vis immigration, because like there's no way just deputizing a bunch of fucking like small business owners is going to make that organization run more efficiently. Like, it's not gonna like help them do what their stated job is better. Like, and nobody could think that. Nobody could think like, I mean, even in the language of like, you know, security or like the police, like the whole premise of like that idea is that, you know, from that perspective that like we need like a trained gentry to like do these things. Like and it needs like specific training, and it needs to be like within a certain institution, you know, so we can like cover these like institutional bases, like and make sure like we're all on the same team, you know, among ourselves. I'm talking here in terms of like, you know, what the perspective is of like how a police department runs or whatever. They're not just gonna like, you know, say that it's for efficiency to then just open up the ranks and be like anybody can join as long as you're like on our side. Like the whole reason you do that is to just encourage people to do shitty things and to make them feel good. Like, you know, that it's not gonna like make it work better.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know how there's... I don't know whether to feel comforted by the fact that Trump is just taking fucking L's left and right now, and that he's just, you know, weakening in his, you know, or is he going to take that?
Is he? I don't think, is he?
Yeah, I think so.
Why do you think so?
Oh, I think it started like with some of the shit that the losses that he quote took, you know, from some of the Supreme Court shit. I think there was some, like the Tulsa rally, he looked like a total fucking idiot from that because there wasn't people there.
To who? To us or to his base? Not to his base.
I think it's, I mean, look, you know, he was mad. He boasted to everybody that this was going to be so well attended and that there was going to have to be, you know, overflow areas and stuff, but the place wasn't even filled up.
Yeah, but he always says that shit. And he'll still keep saying it whether it was true or not.
I don't know. I just don't think... I just don't see how that there's like a critical mass even from like the business community that's just like, you know, I'm gonna put my weight behind Trump right now. Yeah, his base will always follow him.
Yeah, I think he just keeps on winning.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, again, if it would, the political field were slightly different, but I mean, like, again, you have to remember that it's not just Trump in a vacuum, it's Trump versus Biden. You really think Biden is going to win the election?
He's not going to win the election.
Right.
I think he could. I think he's got a better chance than Hillary, but I mean, I don't discount his ability to completely blow it, but no, I think he probably could. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, but like, again, I wouldn't call that Trump catching an L. I mean, I think that he's the people he's going to catch L's with are the people that it doesn't matter. The people who hated him, who've always hated him, who are always going to hate him. You know what I'm saying? Like, his base isn't giving an inch. If anything, this is only, especially with the COVID and all this stuff, and him like sort of standing in solidarity with all their worst, most paranoid, insane instincts is like, Right. It's only helping him.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as liberals want COVID to be his 9/11, or excuse me, as much as they want it to be his like Katrina, it's just I don't think it's going to be like that. People are it's his 9/11. It's this tragedy, no matter how much he fucking bungled it. Right. His base isn't going to see it that way. They're just going to rally around him and celebrate the way he handled it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the withdrawal from the World Health Organization, the constant insistence that this was like
take that globalists.
Yeah, like a malevolent plot by China or whatever. Like, all of that is going to get ramped up. To the ability that like his like feeble mind can like make those connections, right? Like all of that is going to get ramped up with even more aggressiveness and ferociousness as we get closer to fucking November. I mean, I guarantee you that like if it doesn't exist already, one of the things that's going to pop up first on the fringe and may very well make it to somehow the fucking White House, either during a debate moment or a press conference or even a tweet, there's going to be something that like the fucking, the loony left Antifa, George Soros funded Black Lives Matter activist stuff is like also funded somehow by China to spread coronavirus. Like if that isn't already the connections that they're drawing, then they're not doing a good enough job as like demagogues. Like that's the most obvious one to just nonsensically connect all the grievances together and say that all of these things are all part of one plot to that's why they wanted to shut the government down. That's why they want you to force you to wear the mask. That's why they want to defund the police so they can do all of this to weaken the country so that the fucking blue helmets from Amerigeddon can like fucking invade your sovereign, ranch and get into your Faraday cage. That's what it's called, right? Faraday cage. Yeah. Steal your Jeeps and your many helicopters. That's what they're trying to do.
I guess it seems so bleak. And one of the kind of breaking points I got pushed to today was I watched this thing, I don't know, it was on like CBS or something like that, about how Disney World is opening up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
And the performers, the employees that like play the characters that walk around.
They're already wearing masks at least.
No. So they don't have. Yeah, I get that point, but like not all of them. And they demanded because they're unionized, and they demanded of Disney World to allow them to come back to work while wearing PPE, and Disney said, then you don't come back to work, and we are going to exercise our right to hire non-union performers. Mm-hmm.
No one dies like Gaston. No one cries like Gaston. No one even gets the plague like Gaston. A weird thing about that, just as a memory that popped into my head. I had a friend who did. There's like a Disney internship program thing you can do that is, in my opinion, it seems quite insidious. But I guess if you're like a real hardcore fan of Disney, then it's something that people do. But I get it's something that sort of targets young people at the beginning of their careers, just coming out of education. My friend did this post undergrad rather, and it's like a program where basically you go and you work for like minimum wage at Disney World in like an entry level thing, which usually means like janitorial work, and you like live in Disney World. It's basically like an indentured servitude program.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Where you like sign a contract with them and you go and you work there for like a year or so, or whatever, whatever a season is, like 9 months or something like that. And the idea is you get to, you live and work there for like, nothing, but you get like a few perks at Disney World, like you get some free tickets to stuff, and I guess it puts you on, if you continue to stay in that program, I'm assuming there's like multiple levels, and it's an idea of like getting a leg up or, a foot in the door at working at Disney, which for, a lot of people, I guess is a dream for whatever reason, because they like the magic of whatever. But anyway, he told me that, like, the thing that makes Disney World really unique and versus, like, the other theme parks and stuff is that, it's all based on this, like, this quasi-magical, insane, delusional idea that Walt Disney had, which is, like, everything has to be, like, perfect, and, like, there can't, you shouldn't see any of the seams. Like, the whole experience when you go to Disney World should be, like, magical and seamless. And so as a result of that, like, the way Disney World works is, like, there's, like, a fucking underworld underneath Disney where that's where everything is. That's where all like the sort of like logistical stuff happens. That's where like the break rooms are. That's where all the janitorial shit is. And so like at each of the Disney parks, there's like a huge fucking network of like catacombs that are like awful that all of the like laborers at Disney World like exist in. So there's like literally this like hellish netherworld in between that like sustains the supposed magic and heavenly graces of the Magic Kingdom or whatever. And he told me a number of really bizarre, entertaining stories from his experience there, and like how just in general like how awful the kind of the average Disney park goer is, and how like shitty they treat the staff there and everything, especially during like really intense peak seasons, because it's really like everything's like super crowded and everybody's like angry and with their kids and yelling and shit, so everybody's like on frayed nerves. But yeah, so that's where they'll put their employees who are getting sick with COVID-19. They'll put them in the catacombs underneath fucking, I don't know, the Epcot Center, and like
Jesus
they'll just be like a terminal sick bay, they'll just like body bags lined up in there so as not to disturb anyone's experience.
I can't even believe that people would even want to go to Disney World right now. I can't believe you'd want to go to Disney World ever. I've never been there.
It's pretty cool.
Oh man, I don't know.
Pretty cool.
It's just I have nothing, no feelings for it. Just a total flat line. But, like, I just can't imagine going there right now. It seems fucking insane to me. I know that we're all cooped up and trying to exile ourselves to St. Helena right now, but, like, I just can't imagine wanting to go out that badly that you would expose you and your children to fucking COVID.
Yeah, but the people that are going, they don't think it's real.
Right.
Yeah, they don't care.
Right.
Wait 2 weeks.
I just remembered this, and I must have told you guys this, because I only went to Disney World once, and it was relatively recent. It was like probably about 6 or 7 months ago.
Right.
And it was, Carrie's from Florida, and so we went down there, and she had gotten tickets, right, to go, and so, we got these, like, free tickets, so, and she had gone there because she, grew up there, lived most of her life there, and so she frequented a lot of those places, and so we went to the Epcot park, which is, like, it's like weird caricatures of around the world, where, like, you go, and there's, like, there's, like, a little France, and then there's like a little China, and then there's like a little Japan and stuff. And the whole thing, the reason why we went to that one is that I guess there was like some food and wine festival or something. So it was basically like I didn't do any rides or anything or see any Disney shit. I basically just went and got really drunk and ate a bunch of food, which I was like fine with. That sounded like a good time to me. And there's an America section in this like tapestry of the world or whatever. There's this little America section, and there was this one like not a ride, but like a show of all animatronics, and it was called like The American Way, and I was like, we are 100% watching this shit. Like, no question, are we watching this? And you go in this like giant theater, and it's all animatronics, and it's like an hour long, and it's like a succession of stories about America, and it's all like narrated by Mark Twain. Not him actually, but like there's an animatronic that's Mark Twain and like Benjamin Franklin nonsensically are like enjoying a drink and like smoking a cigar together, and are like, let's talk about the wonderful American system. And of course it's like it's a totally whitewashed version of American history. I mean, it's like the lamest, most Disney-fied fucking quick cuts of the revolution, how beautiful the Constitution was, Manifest Destiny, and all this shit. And it was like, obviously it was like written in the 1950s or 60s too. So then I guess it like the succeeding years, they very obviously tacked on a bunch of like quasi-apologetic things to be like mention like slavery and the Native American genocide, and those bits are like clearly tacked on. They're really short, and then they're shuffled away immediately. So like the whole time that this is going, again, it's in the middle of the day, I'm like really drunk, and we're in this like crowded theater with mostly just like shitty families who are there like really like oohing and awing at these like awful animatronics talking about how great like free enterprise is. And so the whole time I was just like fucking laughing at it, and we almost got kicked out of the American Way thing because I was just like pointing it out and shouting at it, being like, you lie, you lie, animatronics, you lie.
Jesus Christ.
So that was my Disney experience. I had a great time. I just ruined these families' vacation. I was very content to do that.
How do we wrap this up? That was an interesting story, Shane. Well, see you later.
Thanks for liking my story, guys. It's so genuine and nice to tell a funny anecdote among pals and get a real reaction out of it. I hope the audience enjoys it too, because that's what we got. See you next time, folks.
Fantastic.
If we can't,
it's a fantastic story. If you're listening out there, buy some dynamite and find your nearest.
Whoa! No!
If you want to combat coronavirus from home, that's how to do it.
Well, stay cool on that note. Goodbye.
On the island of St. Helena,